Hello, everybody. Today I'm going to go over the Airflow training. It is just a basic training to have the setup on your local laptop and access the web server and see how the Airflow UI looks like and run a simple test. So before I start with Airflow, let me give you a little bit idea of like what exactly the Airflow DAG means. So DAG is basically the directed acyclic graph. If you see this particular picture, it has the Python operator, SSH operator, custom operator, bash operator, HTTP, and finally it is the target is the Hive operator. So inside Airflow, we have different operators we can define. So to make it more modular, and those modules like actually are connected by a sequential flow, or it can be parallel flow, like the custom operator bash and the HTTP can run in parallel, but finally their outputs are merged to the Hive operator. Basically, I mean to say that it is flowing to the Hive operator. So now, what is Apache Airflow? Apache Airflow is a platform to programmatically create a DAG and operate end-to-end data pipeline at scale. The user can schedule and monitor workflows or data pipelines. And if you see the old way of defining the ETL or ELT, like basically we have a source and then we manipulate the data, basically we change the data and then finally store in the target system. So in Airflow, what we do? The Airflow is a modern tool using DAGs, which can transform the data with already built-in features. Like it has already built-in features like the parameterization, alerting, lineage capabilities, and scalability. So you can think of like you can define the same thing, you're writing your own script, then you have to write your own code for failures and also for the parameter passing. So you don't have to do this in Airflow. So Airflow is already the software that is providing all the functionality for those. You can handle failures, you can see the failures, you can schedule the task, you can run the task forcefully. So let me see if I'm sharing my screen. Yes. So that's what the Airflow is. So let's first start with the Airflow installation. So to install Airflow on my local system, I have the pip and Python installed. So this is the Airflow documentation page, starting page. And if you click on the install, you will go here and you see there's two different ways which they are providing. One is by the local install and one is by Docker. So today I'm going to go over the local install. And for the local install, you can get the pip3, for example, in here. There is an active state page, this page, which actually talk about the pip3. And if I go to my environment, I already have the Python installed. So I created this folder, deep Airflow, to install the package in the Python environment so that I can have multiple versions of Airflow in my system. And it's better to install inside an environment. And here I don't have anything. So what I'll do here is that let's check what Python version I have. I have 3.10, and then pip3. Give the version. Yeah, so this is what I have. And now let's create a Python environment, Python 3 minus M, virtual environment env. So once my environment is created, I can source to this environment. Yeah. So after I go to my environment, what I have to do is that I have to define the Airflow home. I can just export, or you can just define the Airflow home. You don't have to in this because you don't have to here. Let me just define the Airflow home. And after you define the Airflow home, you need to install the Apache Airflow. So if you go back to the Airflow installation page, you will see here that it has something a little bit more than what I'll do. So it gets the Python version, and then it creates the URL and use that URL for the pip installation. So I'm not going to do that because I'm showing you the faster way. If you don't have this requirement, then you can directly just go and install like pip3 install Airflow. And that is actually is going to create the Airflow software in your system on inside that virtual environment. Okay, once this system is installed, so we have a couple of steps to do. That is, if you go down, we have to initialize the database. So Airflow comes with SQLite database, and you have to initialize the database and create the user. So the user you create, that user you can use that in your UI login. So let me just see one thing. We go back. Yeah, so that one is done. And then if I see here, I have this environment, but I don't have that directory which I specified over here as Airflow 1 still. Still it is not there. So I do Airflow DB init. This is what is defined over here in this page, this step. And then I have to go and create a admin user. So when you create the admin user, you can give your some email address. You don't have to give your email address. So it is just for testing purpose, right? But you need to give here the password. You can give admin as well for the password. Don't know, this one don't text here or. Yes. So right now it is initialized, and you see that the Airflow directory is created. I can go inside Airflow and see here the CFG file is created and the DB is created because we initialize the DB. Now the next step is to create that user. I can create the user. What is the error? Yeah, see. What is the error? It is giving email address. I have no idea why it is not taking that. Oh, I understand what is going on. Yeah, now your user is there. So once you have the user, you can see here there is a CFG file. So you can open that. That is a configuration file. And over here is the DAX folder. So this is a folder where you can have your the DAX defined. So Right now, when it will install, it will have its own folder where it will have all the example files. But going forward, you want to just use your folder where you will have your all the production data or the testing data. So once Airflow is initialized, now the next step is to start the scheduler. Flow web server, and by default, it starts on 8080 port, but you can change it to port, some other port, like for example 8070, and run this. So Airflow UI is starting up. Go to this one. Localhost 8070, right? Yeah. And then you can log in with admin, and that is the password we gave, the same password. Okay, so now I'm here. These are all my other software things. So don't worry about it. So I don't have DAGs or anything over here. So the next step, if we go back to the document, you need to start the scheduler. So the web server you created, and the web server is running in the port 8070, and the scheduler you need to run. So let's open another tab, and right now go back one step and source env bin wait, and Airflow home. You have to define the Airflow home, otherwise you don't know. And then Airflow scheduler. So now you are starting up your scheduler, and let's see what happens. Now you go back to the installed Airflow, and you click this one to see if any changes is happening for the Airflow. So it takes a little bit time to set it up first time. So give it some time. So you will see that now all these sample DAGs are getting populated in the UI. So let's take an example, tutorial ETL DAG. So once you click that, you come up over here, and you can see here, let me minimize this a little bit more. You go to the code, and you can see here how the code is written. So here is a DAG name, and then you have the schedule and everything you can define over here, and it comes down, and then you have the Python operator. So this is the one I was talking about earlier, like you have the Python operator and different operators which actually form the lineage. So I go over here, I have the operations over here, and I have another one over here. So similarly, all these operations are linked together by this arrow sign. So this is actually defining the sequence. So in this one, there is 3 of them. So if I go back and I look at the graph, you see there is 3 of them: extract, transform, and load. So if I click on the load, it is saying that it is in Python operator. Okay. So that's how you can look at the code. And if you want to change the code, then you need to go to that particular folder where you have that source code, and you modify it there. Wait for some time, the Airflow scheduler will pick it up. Or if you want to forcefully bring it up, you can just also stop the scheduler and restart it. It will bring it up. So you don't have to do that. It automatically picks it up in few minutes. So now let's run this one and see what happens. So this is a task, and I go to my screen. Actually, let me minimize it a little bit more. Yeah, hope now you see the full screen, right? Refresh the page. Yes. So you click this arrow sign, trigger DAG. So that's how you actually execute this flow, workflow. So in Airflow, we have this workflow. So if you say workflow, what is workflow? Your workflow is a sequence of tasks started on a scheduler or triggered by an event. So I ran this one and all of them ran success. So you can see on the top, it is showing success. Or you can go to the grid view and you see that all of them ran to success. We have 3 steps here, right? Extract, transform, and load. And then you click one of them and then you click the log, you can see the log over there. And the status is shown over here. But suppose, for example, you have 3 steps and your data actually change or something happens and you don't want to run the whole DAG. So what you can do is then you can come to a particular point. Suppose, for example, I want to run this one from transform. I don't want to do the extract again because maybe it is an expensive operation. I'm assuming this sample one, the extract one is very expensive and I don't want to rerun it multiple times. So I can clear this particular step and confirm. So what it will do is that it will rerun this process starting from transform and then load it. It will not execute the extract one more time. So this is a very nice feature. And also you can see that over here you have the graphical view also, like to show like the relationship. And if you go to another example, for example, let me see, Python operator, yeah, and go to the graphical view, you will see that this is the starting one, and there is some of these things which are running in parallel. So you can have the parallel execution as well as sequential. So if you really don't need to parallelize the process, you can keep it simple. And as I have shown you, like you can go to the last step here, where actually it says, let me go back. Where is the last one? 1 second. And also you can search it over here. You can just put ETL. So this is the one we ran, right, last time. So you can go to the code and you can see here that it is actually executed. And then this is actually the flow, that is workflow that is defined. So now let's discuss like why Airflow, like what are the benefits we get out of this software. So as you know, like the Airflow is a open source project, and it is Apache license and very well defined software. It is a nice UI. It interacts well with all other databases, and it has a lot of infrastructure support, like for example, Hive, Druid, AWS, Google Cloud. It has a huge customer base, like for example, Workday, Airbnb, Yahoo using it. And it is easy to reproduce historical job, and then also the jobs can be passing the parameters to other jobs in the downstream. It can handle the errors. So like here I have shown it is going to success, right? But for example, if you have some errors, it will highlight with the red mark that there is a problem, like this one. If it is failed, it is highlighting with red mark. So on the top, it easily shows that you don't have to remember. Like first time when it starts, it queued, then it is running, and at the end it is success. If failed, then it will not go to the success status, it will be failed. And then you can have the retry operations. You can skip a step. Suppose you have like 9 steps and there's some problem in one step you want to take care by some other means, and then you can skip it for now, and you can mark that step to be skipped, and you can continue with the remaining steps. Automatically retry is also available for this software. Easy to deployment for the workflow change. And later in the later video, I can go over the job testing through Airflow itself. And you can see like the logs are also very flexible to access. You can look at the logs and find out exactly at which step it failed. You can monitor the job status in real time. Also, there is a nice feature of sending emails and notifications. So these are all the extra benefits you get from this Airflow package. Like you don't have to separately write each of these things. It comes on its own, and you can just leverage it and concentrate more on the definition of the pipeline which you are developing. So it adds more value, and then it has a lot of integration with other products. So we'll go over all those things later. So that's pretty much it's what like for the Airflow to start with. So just follow this documentation page. No, sorry, not this page. Yeah, this page, and then this tells you like how to install and if anything changes on the latest version. So yeah, please go and read this document. This is very helpful. Thank you.